Beanie Babies were one of the most popular toys back in the 1990s, and today I'm going to be talking on the channel about the Beanie Bubble, which is now on appleplus TV. Is it really worth a watch, and should you be checking it out? Well, stick around and let's discuss it. Ty Warner was a frustrated toy salesman until his collaboration with three women grew his idea into the biggest toy craze in history. The film stars Zach Galifianakis, Elizabeth Banks, Sarah Snook, and Geraldine Viswanathan, and was directed by Kristin, Gore, and Damian Kulash. I heard about the Beanie Bubble through another YouTuber. I didn't know this was an actual film coming out. Apparently there's a documentary on this film as well, which is interesting. I definitely would like to check that out. I think it's on Tubi, if I'm not mistaken. So I definitely would like to check that out. Zach Galifianakis, who stars as Ty Warner, and he is the creator of the Beanie Babies. Growing up, I did actually go to different flea markets and collect the Beanie Babies. If you don't know what Beanie Babies are, they basically are plushes stuffed, and they were a huge thing back in the 90s, and people went nuts over them. And this was also during the discovery of the internet and eBay, and that was a big craze time during those times. I can remember back in 2000s when I first started using the internet. I was 10 years old at the time, and we had dial-up internet. And I look back at that now and how the dial-up internet clogged the phone lines all the time. And, now we don't have that. We obviously have our cell phones, and we don't really necessarily need a computer to actually go online. So this film, it brought me back to those times and how AOL was a thing. During that time, eBay was a big thing too. And I do remember the craze of the Beanie Babies actually going on eBay and going for astronomical prices. You follow three different women in this film. You first have Sheila, who's played by Sarah Snook, and she is the lover of Ty Warner. He woos her over. They get into like an argument and they end up going on to a date. She has two kids, and you get to see that love story blossom throughout the film. Then you have Geraldine Viswanathan, played by Maya. She is a 17-year-old girl, and she is supposed to be going to college. That's what her parents want for her, but she doesn't want that. She really wants to stick with the company, and she really gives all the bright ideas to Ty Warner in this film. She tells him about eBay, which he really doesn't like because they're actually making profit off these different Beanie Babies, and he feels that they're making all this money that he should be getting. Maya explains to him that this really helps their sales, and it helps them really get a lot of different Beanie Babies out there to different consumers, and if they're rare, people will be willing to pay top dollar, and this actually helps sell the product for them. You also have Robbie, played by Elizabeth Banks, and she is the partner here of Ty Warner. They originally wanted to start a business where they were going to do a Persian Himalayan cats and stuff those, and then they actually came up with this idea to do Beanie Babies. And throughout this film, the main conflict between the both characters here is Elizabeth Banks wants them to go international to the UK, and she has these ties to make that happen, and he's very reluctant to actually do that. He's very much in control. He doesn't want to sell Beanie Babies to big time stores like Toys R Us or Walmart or Kmart or anything like that during this time. And majority of the time throughout this movie, he really does actually make these employees work really hard for him, but he doesn't really reward their progress. He's very reluctant to new ideas, and if it has anything to do with money, where he is losing that money, especially with when Maya actually introduces the fact that eBay is a big thing in selling Beanie Babies, he absolutely hates it. He actually wants to sue those people. He even makes eBay actually change the name from Beanie Babies to Bean Plush Toys. So he definitely had a hand in changing certain things that he didn't really like. And you see him throughout this film just be a character that's really into himself. He really is into plastic surgery. He even wants the girl that he's actually dating to get plastic surgery as well. I really did enjoy the acting of Geraldine Viswanathan in this. I thought she did an excellent job. I've seen her in other films before prior, so I was aware of her, and I thought her character was done really well. I like that she was really smart, she was really witty, and she had a plan throughout this film. Elizabeth Banks as well. I thought that she had a very good character as well, and she was the head honcho trying to get them in foreign markets, and that conflict between her and Ty Warner was actually really good as well. Sheila, played by Sarah Snook in this, she was fine. I felt like they didn't give her a whole lot to do. I felt like, she was just that relationship that he was really hitting up, and he didn't really have that appreciation for her. You see it throughout that he doesn't always really pay attention to her, and definitely with her kids, it felt like in the beginning he really was acting like he really loved the kids and he was really in love with her, and throughout this film it seems to really fade and he gets really obnoxious and really into himself, and especially with all the money and all that. So her character could have had a little bit more to do, I would say. I also felt like with Zach Galifianakis' character here with Ty Warner, I felt like there were times where they really could have built him a little bit more. I felt like we see glimpses and things that he definitely shows that his force of power is there, but I felt like they could have upped him a little bit, and I felt like they held back a little bit within that character. I also thought it would have been really cool if we got to see more of the different Beanie Babies that they actually made, and I felt like they could have had maybe the process of production or something like that, and where they were shipped from. We do get to actually be told where they're shipped from. It would have been cool if we got a little bit of whole production and how the designing actually goes, because we don't get anything like that in the film. It really just follows both these three women throughout this entire film and their stories with Ty Warner. Ty Warner, he's very obsessed with plastic surgery, and we get a little bit of glimpse of that when he actually obviously tells his girlfriend that she should get plastic surgery as well. But I felt like they held back a little bit on that, because apparently in real life he was really obsessed with plastic surgery. So I thought that could have been elevated a little bit more and show us a little bit more of that side of his obsessiveness with that. Overall, I would recommend The Beanie Bubble. I found that this film was actually very compelling, very relatable, and it was a film that it really is going to depend on your nostalgia for Beanie Babies. Obviously, I collected them and I wanted to get as many as I can, but I think that if you don't have that nostalgia, if you didn't collect them, if you never really cared for them, this film may be not something that you're really interested in. I also liked in the film how they actually showed how the Beanie Babies were actually put into the McDonald's Happy Meals. I used to get those all the time, and it really did bring back the memories of trying to collect them all. So that was really cool that they put that in. And they also put in different news stories about Beanie Babies. There was one funny scene where they had a news story where these couples were actually fighting over who gets the Beanie Babies within a divorce. That's how crazy Beanie Babies were back in those days. So I really did appreciate that this film, it definitely brought back the nostalgia from where I was younger. As far as a score for the Beanie Bubble, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, and I would definitely recommend it if you're really interested in the material. And I'm very interested to actually check out the documentary that I saw. I believe it's on Tubi, so I definitely want to check that out on there and see what that is about. But thank you guys for watching this review. Let me know in the comments, did you like this film? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on my next review.